Good morning. We are live. It is time for Midweek Motivation Live with me, your host, Patrick Lee. I hope you are all doing well today. People are in the background already waiting for the show to go live. Going to be talking about an important topic with you today. I hope you're ready for a fun ride into a great topic, something I've been intending to talk about on for a while. We have a couple of other things coming up soon and another giveaway we're going to be doing shortly. My friend and previous guest on the show, Bob Goshen, has written another book, and that was just released, and I just got the first copy in. It's Time by Bob Goshen. The book named after his new podcast as well. When he kicked off that podcast, we had him on the show. Wonderful guest, friend of Cody's and Gina's, and now friend of mine. There comes a pivotal moment in everyone's life when the call to elevate oneself cannot be ignored any longer. Bob Goshen. It's time to make changes and move forward in your life, learning skills that will set you apart. That will be a gift here on the show. In the near future, we'll have copies of that we're going to be giving out to some people that like, love, and share the show. Good morning, Pete. Good morning. People already tuning in to watch the show. You know the drill. We have to get through the opening credits, and we'll be back right after this. We're going to be talking about the heart of connection when we come back. And we are back. Welcome back to the show. Thank you, people, for already liking, loving the show. We got some hearts and thumbs up going on. People already tuned in. I appreciate that. I want to talk to you about the heart of connection today, and that is going to be a topic on our speech and how well we relate to others. The heart of connection. I want to dive into some core elements that bind us together as human beings, namely how we relate to others, how we speak to others. I want to explore the importance of love and communication in our relationships and in our daily lives. I think that many of you can raise your hand and comment and claim that this is very important to you. You've probably experienced some speech in your life, some types of communication that are less than desirable. But we want to talk about the importance of desirable communication. Love and communication are the bedrock of meaningful connections, right? That's what the whole foundation of our relationships are built on, is on how well we learn to communicate with others, whether it's in our personal lives or within the broader community of those that we know, love, and trust. Proper communication is imperative to building these great relationships. Thank you, Cody. I appreciate that. I wore this shirt just for you. I think I got this shirt from Pete. Thank you. Thank you to Peter Espino. Peter Espino got me this shirt from Men's Warehouse. It's an Igara. I love Igara shirts from Men's Warehouse. Thanks, Pete. I appreciate that gift very, very much. But literally, let's dive into 5 key points that highlight the significance of proper communication. Point number 1 being the foundation of relationships. Love and communication form the bedrock of all meaningful relationships, whether it's romantic partnerships. Many of you involved in great romantic relationships. Some of you are still striving and looking for that right person. Maybe it's family ties. Maybe it's just your regular friendships. Well, these elements are essential for building and maintaining strong connections. This first one, the foundation of relationships, is so important. If you don't start a relationship on a good foundation, as you get further and further on down the road in development of that relationship, you will find out that it's very, very shaky, not built on solid ground, and that relationship may tumble and fall much faster than one built on the strong foundation of communication. Communication is so important. But love is the strongest building block of this. Love creates this emotional bond. It draws people together and it fosters a sense of security between us, right? It brings about trust and mutual respect. Without love, relationships can become superficial, they're just surface matters. They're not really deep. And then they become transactional. It's like, I'm going to share you love as you share love back to me. I'm only going to give you the same amount of love or less than what you show back to me. And when that love becomes transactional, that's very dangerous ground as well. We don't want that at all. Sometimes those types of transactional relationships really lack depth and authenticity, and therefore they cannot become a truly fulfilling relationship. Communication, on the other hand, is the conduit through which our love is expressed and understood. Effective communication allows individuals to share their thoughts, feelings, and experiences, creating a bridge of understanding and empathy, not sympathy. Empathy simply means understanding. I understand what you mean. I understand where you're coming from. I understand where that attitude is coming from. I can empathize with what you're going through, right? Totally different than sympathy, which is that feeling of care and concern for that other person, sympathizing with them. So it is through open and honest communication that these misunderstandings are avoided, conflicts are resolved, and relationships can be strengthened. When love and communication are present, not just communication, relationships can thrive, providing a source of joy, support, and resilience or steadfastness. That resilience is like the rubber band or Teflon on a nonstick pan. Resilience allows things that hit you to slide off, or if someone hits you, you can bounce back from that. That resilience is a very, very strong word. Number two, a point I want to talk to you about is the emotional well-being and mental health that condition that comes about when we are communicating in love. The presence of love and effective communication significantly impacts emotional well-being and mental health. Now, I think January and June maybe are mental health months. You make sure that is correct. Yeah, checking some of my settings to make sure we're not interrupted. June and January, I believe, are mental health months. Hello, Dee Dee, my friend watching the show today. Thank you. You have a great day as well. My good friend didn't know she was watching the show. That's wonderful. I love that. Midweek Motivation Live, now available on all major podcast platforms, wherever you watch your podcasts. Don't forget to tune in to Midweek Motivation Live with Patrick Lee, and you can get just topics just like this one and more. Spotify, Stitcher, Apple iTunes, wherever you listen to your podcast, you can find Midweek Motivation Live with Patrick Lee. Good morning, Miss Lisa. Great to see you watching as well. Lisa is a prime example of our topic today, love and communication. I love that. The emotional well-being and mental health aspects of our communication are very important. Like I was saying, January and June, I believe, are mental health awareness months. In January, I think we did a show on that. And we always are empathetic to our friends that are dealing with that. I have experienced that in relationships that I have as well, people close to me. And I always reach out to people and recommend people that are suffering from any kind of emotional distress. Reach out to a friend, a pastor, a counselor, get some help for heaven's sakes and your sake, get some help. But feeling loved and understood contributes to a sense of belonging and self-worth, which are crucial for our mental health. When someone is going through something and we don't know how to effectively communicate with that person, if they're going through a crisis, a mental breakdown, some anxieties that they don't know how to handle themselves, and we don't know how to communicate with them properly, we are not being a help. We can empathize and say, I may feel for you. I think I understand what you're going through, but I don't know what to do or how to speak about it. At that point, if that's the case, we need to recommend that they go and get the help that they need. Talk to someone that can provide that emotional support, which helps them cope with stress, anxiety, and all of those feelings, whether it's depression or whatever. Sometimes it's just anxiety and you don't even know where it's coming from, and you just need someone to sit there and talk with you while you experience that. And that's why it's so important for us to learn to communicate better. If we are a good communicator, we can help that person with their emotional well-being and with that mental health issue when they are happening to go through that. If we go to the doctor every time we have a sore tooth, you go to the dentist, right? You get a shot or you get that fixed. If you have a heart issue, you go get your veins cleaned out. You put in a stent. You get a medication. You go to the preacher. You get prayed for. Let the elders of the church, call the elders of the church forward that they may lay hands on them and pray for them and they may be healed. So we believe in all of these things. You know, you're going to go as simple as taking chicken soup for a cold, right? You're going to have some chicken soup. Isn't it also equally or more so important to do the same thing when we are going through something that is a little more mental or emotional? Absolutely. Call for the elders of the church, call for a strong prayer partner, call them on the phone and say, pray for me, I'm going through this. And when they do, just learn to communicate. And love is the key element of that communication, which helps them know that they're understood. It gives them that emotional support, that relationship support we're talking about, helping them cope with whatever it is that they're going through. When people feel loved, they're more likely to experience positive emotions more so than negative. That leads to better overall mental health completely. Completely. Communicating properly plays a pivotal role in mental health as well. Being able to express your feelings and thoughts without fear of judgment is very therapeutic. How many of you are speaking with a person and they're explaining some things to you that they're going through, and all you are doing is looking at them with a blank stare, thinking about what you're going to say next? If what you're going to say next is not a comment about perhaps you have went through the exact same thing and you do empathize with them, you do understand, and you love them and support them, then maybe you need to think about what your next comment needs to be, right? Because as we are being an active, proactive listener with that person, we need to be doing it with a heart of love, always thinking in our minds while we are listening is, what is the best comment I can make to help them know that they are loved and understood? Most of our people, our friends, fear judgment in conversation. And we have gotten to the point to where this generation is so quick to say, don't judge me, right? Don't judge me. Or they internalize everything because they are afraid of that judgment. And not only will some of them not say, don't judge me, they just won't speak, period. They won't share their problems. They internalize them. They push them deep down into their soul, into their spirit, into their psyche. But then those issues manifest out in numerous kinds of ways, in the anxiety, in the depression, thoughts of suicide, because they don't feel that anyone loves them or understands them. So this love portion of communication, not only is it great in the beginning, like we said, for building relationship foundations, but then it goes on to play such a pivotal role in the relationship area that if we can't get into a position to where we can understand with love what kind of mental things or feelings or emotions this person is going through, we are not going to be able to help grow that relationship. Does that make sense? This mutual exchange of communication with a heart of love fosters a supportive environment that relationship can grow in, right? It's like the ideal conditions for a plant to grow. It needs soil that has nutrition in it, and it needs water, and it needs vitamin D from the sunlight. And that environment, a plant can flourish. Well, our relationships are the same way. This mutual exchange of conversation and communication with love brings about this environment where relationships can grow, where our thought processes can flourish, and we can develop these strong roots between each other that causes that relationship to be bound together, such that it's hard to break that relationship. Now, on the flip side of that, poor conversation, poor communication, a lack of emotional support leads to isolation. And that just compounds mental health issues in the people that we are supposed to love and trust, right? So, wouldn't it be inducive to a good relationship to go ahead and get that communication out? Lisa and I can share what Lisa shared with me recently. We were talking at her office at the title company, Chicago Title, amazing title company. We were at her office talking, and she shared a statement that says, I just don't like letting things fester. If I have a thought, I just say it. If I feel like something needs to be addressed, I just address it. And I'm quick to do that. And I just throw it out on the table. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. And I found that it's easier to sleep because I just go ahead and get that out there and we talk about it. Right. And some people are just not like that. They'll have the thought and then they'll immediately reserve it. They'll hold it back. They'll start to say it. They'll cast it out there and then they'll reel it back in real quick and say, no, I'm not going to say that. Now, sometimes that's judgment. That's good judgment. And if that comment is going to be harmful, it's going to be negative. And I'm guilty of this yesterday. I made a negative comment, and I actually, within 2 minutes, I went back to that person. I said, I shouldn't have said that one comment, and I apologize. And they were like, it's okay. We totally understood what you meant. I said, I know, but I didn't have the right to say that. And I'm taking that comment back. They're like, awesome. That's great. But yeah, Lisa's a good example of that. Many of you watching the show are great examples of that. You're very conscientious about how you speak about other people in other situations. And some of you, to your own testament, are very good at just saying whatever comes to your mind, and you just let those words out there on the table. Some of them, I've heard it said, and I like to say as well, be sure that when your words come out of your mouth that they are sweet, because you want them to be sweet when you have to eat them. So remember that. But this comment I was making about yes, thank you for your forgiveness, Cody. I appreciate it. That's what it means the world to me. But this topic I had with Lisa is leading right into our third point. The third positive point about the heart of connection, being love, is conflict resolution and problem solving. In any relationship, conflicts and disagreements are inevitable. They're bound to happen, right? It's going to happen. If two people are exactly alike, one is redundant and unnecessary. So if you're not talking to a redundant person who thinks exactly like you, then and says exactly what you say, then disagreements are bound to happen. However, the presence of love and effective communication can transform these challenges into opportunities for growth and deeper understanding. And I think that for the most case, that is when relationships actually grow better. When a plant is growing, it may get a little bit out of control and it starts growing all willy-nilly. What do you do to that plant to get it under control? You prune it, right? If you are transplanting a plant and it's become root bound in a pot that's too small and that plant cannot grow any more than the size of the pot that it's in, you take that plant out, and what do you do before you plant it? You prune those roots back. You release the pressure on those roots, cut some of them back that are not growing the proper way, and then the plant above ground, you prune it back to allow it to grow properly. And relationships are the same way. When our communication gets out of a line, we have to prune that back. Conflict is the pruning of the plant and the releasing of new growth into the roots. Some of the best friends I ever made were friends that I got in a fight with initially. When you meet that person, now it may not be the same today. Y'all can go ahead and talk amongst yourselves about today's day and age. But in the old days, if you had a disagreement with someone, and when you first met them, you might just get into a fight or an extreme argument. But once you both understood how that person was, what they talked like, what they acted like, what they fought like, that person ended up becoming one of your best friends. So you understand at that point that you have a mutual understanding of that person, what their strengths and weaknesses are, and they understand yours. And you've just developed a foundation for a relationship, a friendship to grow through conflict. Learning how to properly exercise your speech and a heart of love in a time of conflict or disagreement is very, very, very important. Love provides the motivation to resolve conflict, while hate provides an area for you to tear apart relationships. Love wants to prioritize the relationship building over individual ego. Hate wants to increase the ego over the relationship. Many of you know exactly what I'm talking about. And don't judge yourself. It's okay. Don't judge me either. Love me. So it does, but it does. Love encourages patience, empathy, understanding, right? And forgiveness. And these are essential qualities for overcoming disagreements. Communication with love is a tool through which conflicts are navigated. Effective communication involves active listening. Like I said, proactive listening. Some people listen literally with their arms crossed and they look away, they look up, they look around the room, and they're just, you can tell they're not paying attention. Sometimes it's your unruly teenager, but sometimes it's a close friend, and they're tuning you out, or they're, like I said, immediately thinking about what they're going to say next, like the conversation is a competition. And if that's the case, you need to start learning new ways to communicate. Put this show on repeat and watch it over and over and over, and learn to let your words come out of your mouth sweetness, right? You catch more flies with honey than you do vinegar, as my grandmother used to say. So overcoming disagreements is can be done much easier in an atmosphere or an environment of growth and understanding. So active listening, look people in the eyes when you're talking to them. Pay attention to them. Nod your head like you understand what they're saying, not with a blank stare. Act like you're actually listening. And as you are acting like you're listening, you will find that you are. Always engage in conversation with the desire to increase the relationship and to learn more. And you do that through active listening. Communication, proper communication, is this tool that we navigate these conflicts with. Learning how to speak properly is so important. Always try to seek to understand the other person's perspective over your own. Not that it means you don't stand for your own principles, but give that person you're speaking to the benefit of the doubt and say, I'm going to actively listen and try to understand where they're coming from. And that's another reason why it's so important to speak to people in person, not through a text message. Email is a little bit better, but text messaging and messaging, instant messaging, is can be misconstrued and interpreted so many times, to where people are saying or understanding things that the person never even said. So active listening in a real conversation is so vitally important. When you seek to understand that other person's perspective, you develop an open mind and a willingness to come to some kind of a compromise with that person, or an understanding of their feelings. When both parties feel heard and valued, conflicts can be resolved in a friendly manner. We call that amicable, right? Was that divorce amicable? Yes, it was. Did they come to a resolution amicably? Absolutely. Strengthening our relationships is so important. Furthermore, the process of resolving conflicts together fosters trust and mutual respect, reinforcing the bond of love. In the absence of love and communication, conflicts escalate, and that leads to resentment and relationship breakdowns. None of us want that, right? We want to be led to success in every area of life, as it says across the bottom of the screen. Point number 4, personal growth and self-discovery. Love and communication also play a pivotal role in personal growth and self-discovery. Being in a loving and communicative relationship provides a safe space for individuals, safe spaces. Why did I even put that in my notes? I hate that term, safe spaces, and feeling a good sense of love and communication creates that what we call a safe space, which is basically an environment for relationships to grow. I just don't like that term, safe space. Hey, Sal, good to see you watching too. Good morning, my brother, all the way from South Texas. Sal has a very active life. I follow him a lot on social media and see all of the things, the places he goes to eat and the parties he goes to and the businesses he visits. It's interesting. Thank you for being a great supporter of the show, Sal. I appreciate that. Um, Being in a loving and communicative relationships provides that nurturing environment for individuals to explore their true self. Love offers unconditional acceptance and support, encouragement, and to individuals to embrace their strengths and their own weaknesses. It nurtures self confidence and self esteem, enabling personal growth, which is what we want. When that person feels like they can share their heart, their mind, their thoughts, feelings, and emotions with you, they don't become afraid of that. It becomes an open space, a nurturing environment where relationships can grow. And that relationship growth happens when we are in that loving communication. It just means, hey, you can say whatever you want with me and know that I'm not judging you. I'm not thinking of a comment to attack you as a comeback, but you can say the things that don't attack me either. But that's part of the relationship, right? It's the give and take in that conversation. But you learn more about yourself as you are allowed to speak your mind, to speak your emotions and your thoughts. You are in this place where you can interpret them safely. You can research them a little deeper. You can bounce those thoughts off of each other and realize that you are a good person. You're worthy of love. You have the same thoughts, feelings, and emotions maybe that your friends do, that other people do. You find common bonds. And if you have areas that need pruning, you get pruned in that conversation through some of their comments as well. You prune them. And the Bible says that iron sharpens iron. You can't sharpen iron on lead or gold or silver. Only iron sharpens iron because they're both giving of such a hard and strong relationship back and forth against each other. That's why the Bible talks about that. It's really not the metal itself it's talking about. It's the intelligent mind talking with another intelligent mind. Iron sharpens iron. And if you may not be as intelligent as you would like to be, what do I also say here on the show? If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. You always need to be growing and developing new relationships with people who will communicate to you with love and sharpen your iron, right? That's all it right here. The most expensive real estate in the world is between your temples. Love offers that conditional sharpening, unconditional sharpening, acceptance, support, encouraging words, teaching people to embrace their strengths. It builds their self confidence, their self esteem, and allows us personal growth. Through proper communication, individuals can gain new perspectives and insights on themselves and on you. Sharing your experiences and thoughts with others broadens your understanding of the world and yourself at the same time. It promotes self reflection, self awareness, essential components of personal development. Most of my self reflection and self awareness happens at 3 or 4 in the morning when I happen to wake up and I can't go back to sleep. And those are the thoughts that go through my mind at 60 years old, much like they probably go through your mind in the evening when you're starting to doze on the couch, or when you have a free moment and you're caught in a thought that you're like, why am I thinking this thought? Or maybe something you said, and you start reflecting. When you have this moment of reflecting, these are the things that you start learning, that the times that you start learning about yourself, right? those things are crucial components of personal development. We have the conversation, then we go back and think about what we have said, the things that we have done, and it helps us learn and grow. Constructive feedback in those conversations and encouragement in those conversations from our loved ones can inspire positive change and growth. In essence, love and communication create an environment conducive to self discovery and personal evolution. I don't like the word evolution, but growth, personal growth, helping individuals become the best version of themselves. Point number 5, the heart of connection. Love helps build a stronger community as well. We are talking about personal relationships, the people we know, love, and trust. But beyond that, we also need to have proper communication to build personal relationships, love, and communications with individuals, but also to build stronger communities, larger groups of people that we're associated with. A community built on love is characterized by compassion, empathy, and mutual support. We like to call it our tribe, right? We've talked about tribal leadership, um, tribal millionaires, my people, developing a proper culture amongst my people, right? But that literally is community. That's what we're talking about. People are more likely to help and care for one another, fostering a sense of unity and solidarity when love is the key ingredient of that group. Love transcends individual differences and promotes inclusivity instead of exclusivity and social harmony as well. And isn't that what we want? A lot of people are members of clubs and they like to talk about their exclusivity. We're an exclusive group or we're an exclusive club. Wouldn't it be better, though, if we were an inclusive group and an inclusive community willing to accept all that could come and join and interact with us in a healthy manner and grow that community? I think so. Peter says personal growth produces greater influence. Absolutely. You couldn't have said that much better, Pete. That's a great comment. Communication is vital for the cohesion or stickability and functioning of a community. Open and transparent communication ensures that everyone is heard, which is important, unless they're an imbecile. And then we just kidding. I just, the thoughts just come out of my mouth sometime, Lisa, everyone should be heard unless they're an imbecile. That promotes great group participation and collaboration of thought. Cody and I have done shows on masterminding. We've talked about masterminding, and this is really where a lot of this comes about. Building community is masterminding with a group of people that you can come together, join, grow your community with challenging thoughts and ideas and communication. This masterminding facilitates the exchange of ideas, solutions. It addresses communal challenges effectively, things that affect the whole community. And then, moreover, effective communication fosters understanding and tolerance. These words I'm throwing out here to you: safe spaces, tolerance, community, they're so important. And I know it sounds like I'm going down a tangent, or I'm on a tangent that maybe some of you don't understand, but it is something that those of you that know me know this is kind of who I am to my core. Sometimes I say things that I just fly off the handle and say things, but for the most part, love is a major component of my communication when I am relating to people. It's probably why I have such a diverse group of friends. Very diverse group of friends. And some of my friends absolutely will not relate with other friends of mine. I had my 60th birthday party at Fire Slice at Cody and Gina's this last fall. And many of the comments that came out of that party were when they showed up and they saw the other people that were there, and they're like, I had no idea you were friends with my friend. And then some of the comments were like, I can't believe that person was here. And I'm like, I have a very diverse group of friends, and I love them all dearly. Some of them are closer, some of them are further away. Some are frenemies, some are enemies, but they're all part of my group, and it's okay. I love them all. And we all have to learn how to communicate on the level that we are with that person through give and take, addressing the abrasiveness of some parts of our communication and speech, but finding ways to have a common bond and develop a foundation of community with that person. So that's what I always try to do, is find some manner of effective communication to develop a sense of understanding and tolerance for how some of my friends act. And as we speak more and develop more of a relationship, I believe that my mannerisms rub off on some of them and they become a little bit more peaceful in their speech. And maybe I come a little bit more active in my speech. And we learn to develop the better parts of that relationship and bring out the best in each other. So that's kind of where this whole show, the culmination of the topic today, is going. In a community where love and communication thrive, individuals of all walks of life that are part of our sphere feel valued and connected. And they can all find their own way to contribute to the collective well-being and progress and growth of the relationship. And this is a key element of success in life. In conclusion, as we wind this down, in my first closing, let me say this: love and communication are the pillars of meaningful connections and a fulfilled life. And isn't that what we all want? Great communication enhances personal relationships. It supports our mental health and in conflict resolution. It promotes personal growth, and we build stronger communities by nurturing this sense of love and practicing effective speaking with others. We can create a more friendly relationship base, a more outgoing community. This sphere that we talk about all the time, my top 5 is my inner sphere, but outside of that, we have it's like a target with a bullseye in the middle. That's your inner sphere, your top 5. But then the next circle out of that is still a very close-knit group of community. And then the next circle, like ripples, when you drop a pebble into a pond, those ripples get bigger and bigger. The community grows. But don't we want that same sense of love and communication to ripple all the way throughout our community? I think so. We have a more understanding and connected world at that point. And that's what we should all be striving for, not bickering, complaining, comments of hate and dissension and things that tear people apart. You know me, I'm a man of love. I'm a lover, not a fighter. I almost turned into a fighter at a barbecue last week, but I was able to stay out of it. Some of my friends ended up getting into a fight, ejecting some unwelcome guests from this barbecue, people that showed up uninvited, and their communication, the way they came in and started confronting people at this barbecue, immediately escalated the tensions and caused a fight. And when those people went ahead and got in the fight, then the hosts and other people in security had to go separate them. And was a prime example how improper conversation and words spoken quickly and in anger and wrong speech can turn into something this bad. Some people were ejected from the barbecue, but not after a few people were injured. And then a lot of harmful words were said. And my wife, as smart and wise as she is, said, just stay over here and stay out of it. And like a moth to a flame, we are drawn to that activity. But if you're smart, it's with a sense of how can we de-escalate the situation and get people to separate and figure out what's going on, what's the root cause of the problem, and solve that, not for it to turn into a fist fight. Unfortunately, it did. So this is a prime example of what the show's all about today. Those people that were related to the kids that came to the barbecue for the 4th of July made a bunch of hateful comments and posted photos of people online telling everyone how bad they were. And I actually had to go online in the defense of the other people and make some comments and just say, this was unfortunate on all fronts. It was not handled well. It's unfortunate that it turned into a fist fight and so much physical altercation happened. However, when this group of youth showed up with the mannerisms and the activities and the speech and the activities they were doing, they had to be ejected from the community. Unfortunately, they attacked the grown-ups that were there, the hosts of the get together, and at that point they had to be dealt with. And it's very unfortunate, and people want to pick sides, but at the end of the day, we're supposed to try to get along, share love, communicate, build relationships, as opposed to it turning into some kind of an altercation like this. I did not throw hands. Patrick Lee does not throw hands, but he will if you're coming after someone I love. But I did not have to get involved, but was able to speak with a lot of the people and show some support for them. So with love and communication, understanding, empathy, we can have a much better, more connected community. Thank you for being with me today. With today's show, the heart of connection, I truly believe that the heart of connection is love when we are learning to grow our relationships. Until next week, remember our saying, courage begins at the end of your comfort zone. Get a little uncomfortable today. Go out there and learn to share a little bit more love in your communication with those people that you talk to. Okay. Until next time, I hope the show has helped you. Keep spreading love and open communication. Like, love, and share Midweek Motivation Live with your family and friends. That's how we grow the show. Give me a review wherever you are watching the show. If that platform allows you a place to review Midweek Motivation Live, please go give me a great review. If the show has helped you, give me a review, even if it hasn't helped you. Let me know how I can grow the show. If you're watching on YouTube, click the subscribe button on that and then the notification bell as well. That's how I grow the YouTube channel as well. Until next time, this has been Patrick Lee with Midweek Motivation Live. I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.